Welcome to the Elite Real Estate Agents of SEQ podcast, where I sit down with some of the most successful and respected real estate agents working right here in one of Australia's most beautiful and sought-after regions, Southeast Queensland. This podcast gives you a genuine, behind-the-scenes look at who these agents are as people, what makes them stand out in the industry, and most importantly, can help you decide if they're the right fit to guide your property journey. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation. You might just be listening to the perfect person to sell your property. Hello, and thanks for tuning into the very first episode of Elite Real Estate Agents of SEQ. This podcast is all about helping you get to know the people behind the property signs, the agents who live and breathe real estate in our beautiful region here in Southeast Queensland, and who've built a reputation for getting results. So let's kick things off in this very first episode, because today I'm joined by someone who's been called a selling machine, and for good reason. Campbell Moore has been in real estate since 1990 and has built a reputation as one of the Gold Coast's most trusted and dynamic agents. He's been a finalist in multiple auctioneering competitions and has appeared on national TV programs like Hot Property, Location, and Hot Auctions. Now, Campbell's career is marked by a string of awards and a client referral rate of over 85%, which it really reflects his ability to consistently deliver amazing results. He's known for his friendly, down-to-earth nature and his knack for connecting with clients from all walks of life. Now, before real estate, Campbell was a PE teacher and sports coach in Victoria and even opened his own indoor tennis stadium. He moved here to the Gold Coast in 2007 and now calls Broadbeach home. When he's not closing deals, you'll find him at the beach or enjoying time with his 4 kids. So let's dive in to get the story behind the agent and find out what makes Campbell Moore one of Southeast Queensland's most elite agents. Campbell, welcome to the podcast.
Wow, thanks, Evan. That's a mean introduction. I'll run with that, though.
Okay, I'm a little tired after all of that.
Yeah,
I feel like half the podcast is over before we've begun. But no, look, let's wind it back, Campbell. Yeah. Look, I want to know about you and I want to know about what led you into real estate. But look, tell me a little bit about your background, where you grew up, and I guess just a little bit about you as a person.
Right, I grew up in Victoria, nice and cold Victoria, on a farm, etc. Went to boarding school. Then I became a PE teacher after leaving that down in Latrobe Valley. And I coached a lot of AFL teams down there and was a PE teacher and bought a few properties in real estate.
Because sport is a passion of yours, isn't it?
It is a passion of mine. Yeah, It always has been. I'm a Queenslander now, though. But sport has been a passion of mine for a long, long time. But I bought a few properties in Latrobe Valley, so that was actually my starting point, interest in real estate.
Okay, so how old were you when you did start your property portfolio, when you did start buying property?
Oh, look, I'd probably finished university. I was probably about 25, 24 or something like that. I can't recall now because it's such a long time ago, Adam, as you can imagine.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Property prices would have been a bit different back then.
They were so cheap then.
Can you remember what price would your first property have been that you bought? Could you remember that?
Geez, probably nearly sounds pounds, shillings and pence, doesn't it? No, it was in dollars. Oh, look, I don't know. It was probably in a fairly low socio-economic area where I was stationed as my first teaching appointment. So I'm guessing $250,000 or something like that for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home as a guess.
Yep.
Long time ago.
Right, very long time ago. Yeah. Fantastic. So you started as a PE teacher. What drove you to leave that?
Oh, look, I was always interested in real estate, and then I'd been a PE teacher for a long time. I loved it with a passion because I've been a sports nut, but then I had a lot of interest in real estate, and then I had a passion, being sport, to build an indoor tennis stadium, five indoor courts and creche.
So you actually built that?
Yeah, I actually built that, etc.
Okay, where was that?
That was in Latrobe Valley, etc. So that's a long time ago, and that was a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, but a lot of fun. So I enjoyed that. But then I then went into real estate, which is what I wanted to do in Melbourne. Yep. And then I was there.
What was the first agency you joined?
It was Noel Jones in Carnegie in Melbourne. I'll never forget the first
So a little
job.
independent.
Oh, no, it wasn't. It was a franchise, probably about 8 or 9 offices.
Right, okay.
And then just that grew, and then I owned my own company in Melbourne for probably about 9 or 10 years. And then I decided to move to Queensland because my wife, she moved up to Queensland with my 2 kids. She's an ex now.
Right.
And so she moved up to Queensland. So I came up here too because it was really, because I wanted to be with the kids, and also I got a bit over being an employer, to be quite honest, where now I can do exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
100%. So it's a lot more enjoyable now.
Right, fantastic. So you moved to the Gold Coast, that was, I think we said 2007?
Yeah, probably, nearly 20 years ago, around about that anyway, And I've loved it ever since.
Been in Broadbeach the whole time?
Oh, yeah, around the Broadbeach area, because the kids lived in Broadbeach Waters, so I was kind of around that area, and that's where I wanted to be, is the central part of the Gold Coast as well, which is around the Broadbeach Waters, Mermaid, all that area is pretty central. Because Gold Coast is a small place when you come from Melbourne.
It would
you
be.
know, so you can sell real estate all over the coast, where in Melbourne it's only 3 suburbs away, so it's different.
So what would you be doing if you weren't a real estate agent?
Wow, that's a big call.
Because that's probably not something you haven't considered for a long, long time.
I always wanted to be a sports commentator, actually.
Yeah?
That's what I really
AFL?
wanted to do. It probably would have been AFL, basically, but I'm a sports nut on all issues, so that probably would have been my passion. I'm not saying that I would have been that. I mean, some people said you've got a good face for radio, so I don't know, that's a bit hurtful, but anyway, but I probably, I don't know whether I would have got it. I've got no idea, to be quite honest.
Yep, so sports commentator.
Yeah.
But you do love your AFL, and one thing we do have in common is our love of the Melbourne Demons.
We are the Demons. We don't talk about that this year, though, Adam.
We won't. But hopefully, as people listen to this in years ahead, we are doing far better than we are doing right now. But fantastic. Other sports that you're into then? Other than AFL, just about anything? Tennis?
Yeah,
actually, that reminds me, I was going to ask back before we got off the subject, is the tennis centre you built, is it still there today?
No.
It's not.
No, because that's a long time ago.
No,
when
it is.
I
just wondered. I gathered, things move on, developments and so forth.
It was a really successful tennis centre too. Really busy, flat out, all day, all night. But then 20 years later, they bulldoze it and make a big retirement village because it was on a lot of acreage as well.
Sure.
So it was really good. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. So, look, before we sort of work our way into you as an agent, have you got any sort of personal story that maybe shaped the way you work now? Is there anything, or maybe even a favourite childhood memory?
Well, I was lucky. I had a really good supportive family and a family unit, which is really important, which is not always the case. So I was very lucky there and close to all my brothers, etc. And so my childhood memories are really, really good. But what shaped me there at the moment, I suppose that was, I don't know, it's just, I'm a fairly enthusiastic, passionate person about things I get involved in. I still play sport. I've just started pickleball, actually, which is a bit weird. So a few friends said you should start that because my son said pickleball is really for people who are no good at tennis anymore. Yep. So that's probably...
And for old people as well.
And for old people as well. So
believe it or not, I've got a little bit of an interest in giving that a go. So I might have to have a chat to you after we finish here on that. But fantastic. All right, so let's move more now into your career here and what does make you an elite agent. So you're currently working for Coastal?
Yeah, Coastal Property Agents, which is the biggest company in the Gold Coast. And I joined them about 14 years ago. Then they changed name about 2 years ago.
Yep. Because they were a hard courts Coastal, weren't they? And
they were hard courts Coastal, and then they broke away
Yep.
from that and just because franchise fees were X dollars, and the company grew from probably about 4 people when I first started with them, as in that was 14 years ago. Went from there to about 200 staff and about 120 or 30 salespeople now. So they broke away from hard courts Coastal coastal to just coastal,
Yep.
and so they're franchised. And then obviously companies can do what they like if they own the company,
Sure.
rather than abiding to franchise rules and regulations all the time.
Sure. So what is it that you love about Coastal? What is it, about the company and about
Yes.
the brand that you work for that, really appeals to you?
No, good question. Very fortunate. We've got really, really good principals there. It's really nice people, Dane and Kim, and also Rob, who came on board a few years ago as well. And not fairly... They're good in regard to they don't micromanage everybody whatsoever, because there's enough pressure in real estate when you're dealing with people's most important savings of their life is in property. So obviously not being micromanaged is huge, and I think that probably underpins the nice people, underpins the growth in the business.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So look, briefly, describe a standard week for Campbell Moore from a Monday through to a Sunday on what it looks like to be a real estate agent, because a lot of people think all you guys do is go and put the sign in and
That's it.
and put the ads on realestate.com and turn up to an open home and
rest
sort
is
out
history.
sort out some contracts. So talk me through a standard week.
Yeah, a standard week for me, and I'm really, really busy in my personal life and also business life, but it would blow people's mind in regard to how much administration salespeople need to do, and that's with either copies on properties or returning emails, text messages, organising everything in regard to property, because we're dealing with people's biggest asset, generally speaking. So the amount of work required to get that right to people's satisfaction is huge, but good and satisfying to customers.
Sure.
Yep.
So a huge amount of admin that goes into
admin, and look, I live in Broadbeach as well, so the office is about 70 metres from me, so it's nice and easy for me, and I greet and meet people often down at a coffee shop, whether that's friends or real estate clients as well, because it really then becomes about people rather than houses. And to me, that's probably the most important thing I've learnt in real estate in 30 years, is that most people think that real estate agents are dealing with houses, property, land, etc. and apartments, but they're not. They're really dealing with people. So that's been the core focus with myself, is we're dealing with people, and that personal type of that personal side of real estate is really, really important for me, and also for other people as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, look, you must be, incredible at what you do with that kind of referral rate that you do have. What does
it's enormous, actually.
Yeah.
Not many people would do that.
What makes your client experience so exceptional? What do you do?
I'm a very personable guy, to be quite honest, Adam, and that's
People
really
like
important.
you, Campbell. That's what we're saying.
No, well, even if I do,
enough.
I don't like saying it myself, but I like people. And people's my world, and I'm very personal in regard to that. But in the back end too, I'm very, very, I'm very focused on getting things done correctly, regardless of a conversation, because it takes a little bit of time to get things right as far as open times, correct presentation, correct, etc., and all that. So I am pretty focused on getting it right, so there isn't any mistakes along. But
Sure.
Yeah.
And tell us, what you believe about selling that maybe some others don't. What makes you unique?
Oh, the biggest unique thing is I'm an auctioneer as well.
Right.
And I've done auctioneering for over 20, 25 years, etc. In Southeast Queensland, there's not many people who are auctioneers as well as a salesperson.
No.
I could rock up anywhere and do an auction, and people said, oh, that was a good auction, that was great, and I don't even know the property. However, I'm a salesperson as well as an auctioneer. I know the buyers, I know where they're really at or not at. Yep. I know the property intimately, etc. So that makes it a lot easier for me representing my vendors in regard to get a better price. It's very rare that happens where you've got an auctioneer and a salesperson.
So I do want to understand this, because this isn't something I've never thought about. So you can auction the properties that you're the selling agent on?
Correct.
Okay, because as I've mostly seen, an agent will bring in an auctioneer.
Correct.
because they're not obviously, qualified or experienced to be able to do that themselves. So,
And they don't know the property really well because, like, at the end of the day, as an auctioneer, it's pretty easy once you've done it. It's just a different audience, like a comedian. They've got a different audience.
Working the crowd, isn't it, to a certain extent?
However, if I know the crowd and I know how many times I've inspected the property, I know where they are monetary-wise, and I know the property.
You know the levers to pull and
100%,
things. Yep.
100%. It becomes a bit more personable in regard to that as well too.
What percentage of properties, and this is probably hard for you to maybe know, but over the period, let's call it the last 5 years, would you have done through auction versus a private treaty sale? What would be the percentage of auction?
Oh, probably 80%, 70 or 80%, and that is just a big
Broadbeach
guess.
tends to lend itself more to that sort of sale, doesn't it, an auction?
Oh, I'm not too sure whether it's specific to suburb. I'm not too sure whether it's specific to type of property as well. If I walked out of real estate today, with my experience, and I was advising a friend of mine, my best friend, I would always auction the property because I understand how it works and understand if you get a good offer before auction, you sit down, have a chat about it, and you take it.
Yep.
Or if it doesn't sell then, you sell at auction. If it still doesn't sell, you sell after auction. So it's the same as private treaty all the way along, but you've got choices along the long, 100%. But that's what I would do. But I understand it from the inside in regard to how it works because I'm representing the vendor every time and understand auctions favour vendors, not so much buyers.
So your office is in Broadbeach. You live in Broadbeach.
Yes.
You live and breed Broadbeach, so
100%.
it would be fair to say you're a Broadbeach specialist when it comes to you would sell. You sell all over the coast?
I sell all over the coast from Varsity Lakes. I just sold one there, which was another referral for a property that I sold in Hope Island. I sold one there about 3 or 4 weeks ago as well. And in Broadbeach, everywhere around the coast, because the Gold Coast is a fairly small place, etc. But around Broadbeach is where I live. That makes it really easy for me, etc., because I've got a good feel for that specific area.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, can we talk a few numbers?
Yes.
Can you have your best estimate of how many properties you've sold in your career?
Oh, no idea. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Oh, look, Adam, I've done it for 30 years.
I know.
To remember the number of
properties. This isn't meant to be an easy question, Campbell.
I have no idea, Adam, to be quite honest.
Could it be 1,000?
Oh, it would have to be. It would have to be.
If you did the arithmetic and worked out average per year, 30 years.
Geez, impromptu mathematics is not my forte, but I'm just saying, it'd be thousands. Yeah.
Well, the next one I've got for you is highest selling price of a property you've sold?
5.6.
5.6?
Yes.
Was that,
yes.
How long ago was that?
Oh, that was a little while ago. That was in Melbourne.
That was in Melbourne.
Yeah, but the other ones, my main selling range up here is 1 to 5 mil. That's probably where I sell, but around the 2 mil is probably normal. And it used to be a lot less than that, but the market's changed so much over the last 5 or 10 years, etc. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Tell me about I want you to give me a career moment you're proud of, or actually, let's tweak that a little bit.
Yep.
Talk me through one of your favourite sales.
Oh, look, probably my favourite one I'll never forget. It was in Glen Iris and Hope Island. So in Hope Street in Glen Iris, where that was on hot property with Michael Caton, and that went off. There were only 400 people there.
Wow.
And there was people bidding left, right and centre. It was all televised. I've still got a video of it as well. But that was just an awesome experience being interviewed by all the different reporters and the cameramen, etc. So that was probably one of my favourite sales that I can ever remember.
But I got a lot for the experience and
for the experience,
totally different to anything else. So
yes, and having 400 people there as well.
Yep.
There's another one as well too. But
give us another one.
Okay, no, this is gold. Stanhope Street in Malvern. This was 2 houses being sold individually, and we were contemplating selling both together or one. And that was a crowd of about 400 people, enormous. The first bid was bigger than the reserve on both the properties at once. So it's going to be selling one,
Right.
selling two individually. But the first bid was bigger than the reserve on both. And I had to make it really clear to the bidders. Now, just to make sure that you are aware,
bidding on one.
we are bidding on number one. We're not bidding on both properties. Because I thought, hang on, these buyers have been a bit confused. Because
Based on the price he'd thrown out, you thought he was going for both.
100%.
But
ginormous.
But he was going for
He
one?
was going just for the one property.
Well, that's
then we
just
sold
thrown
the
the whole day into chaos, hasn't it?
Well, a good chaos.
Yeah.
And then we sold the next one to the same buyer for a great price as well. So that was huge.
Wow.
I'll never forget that one.
No, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to, maybe that's it. My next one was, can you tell me about a time where you got a price well and truly above even what you thought was possible?
Yes, and that was probably about 500 to 550. It was a trustee auction that I did do, and they're very clinical in their reserves, etc., because they've got to justify what price they sell properties for, and that went for about, I think it was about 550,000 above the reserve, and the person in charge of the trustee company was stoked in regard to that price. It was huge.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. A time you've gone the extra mile for someone and really seen the result from what you've gone and done for them.
Every single property.
Good
no,
answer.
I do go to the nth degree.
No, I know.
And we don't control the market, so it's a matter of massaging buyers.
Absolutely.
In the best interest of my vendors. Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Weirdest or most unexpected situation that's come up in your career?
Unexpected situation. Oh, wow. I'm just trying to think of that. Unexpected situation in my career. I suppose.
Well, I guess the story you just gave us was probably one where you've had someone bid a price that on one property that you exceeded the reserve on both.
On both. It was ginormous.
I mean, did the crowd just sort of gasp? What
100%, because they thought exactly what I did as an auctioneer, that hang on, they think they're bidding for both.
And when you did clarify with him, he's just gone, no, I'm right. I know we're on one.
The bidding kept on going from there anyway. So once it was at a price better than both, everyone got involved and the bidding even went higher. So he was pushed higher. Then it was just ginormous.
Wow.
It was a deceased estate, etc. on two unrenovated homes. It just went totally berserk.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. We're going to give you what I now call my quick fire round.
Right,
okay?
hit me.
Five quick questions. First thing that comes to mind, short, sharp answers. Okay. One word to describe your negotiation style.
Massaging deals.
That's 2
I'm not
words.
too sure. That's one word.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 words your clients would use to describe you.
A great guy.
A great guy. Perfect. Biggest myth about real estate agents.
Look, real estate agents are just people no different to anybody else, just doing a different vocation, but are in control of people's greatest financial asset, etc. So whether people are as empathetic, not all real estate is empathetic as what they probably need to be representing people.
Sure. Weirdest thing you've seen at an open home?
Oh, there'll be a few. I honestly can't think of one just off the top of my head.
Or probably one that you can say, maybe.
Or one that I could say, mate, fair call. No, I can't think of one at all.
Can't think of one? All right. If your real estate career was a movie, what would it be called?
If it was a movie, what would it be called?
Yeah.
I'd call it Campbell Moore Sells More for More. That's what I would do.
Perfect. Campbell Moore
I'm a
sells
bit
more
biased,
for
though, yeah.
more. Perfect. And finally, top tip for homeowners when selling. If you could give them one tip, and this is, across the board.
Oh, no, totally. Yeah. Look, you never get a second chance on a first impression. That is so important. There doesn't need to be a big cost involved, etc. But it's worth a little bit of time and effort. It's no different to life. You never get a second chance at a first impression when you meet and greet people, and the same when people meet and greet a home.
Fantastic. Yeah. Okay, so final question. We're going to wrap up here, but look, if there is somebody listening out there and considering using you as their agent, what would you say to them?
I'm a very personal guy, and it's really important. I know the people who are contemplating selling. I'm in bed with them, so to speak, and I understand where they're coming from, and I've been involved in so many transactions. I know what works or doesn't work in order to get the best deal from buyers, because I know who I'm representing big time.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay, and I would add to that not necessarily even ask you, but ask the people you've worked for based on the fact that you've got such a high referral rate.
Oh, my referral rate is just ginormous. Seriously,
speaks for itself, doesn't it? So
no, it makes me feel good as well in regard to that's my biggest repeat business or referral business.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, look, Campbell Moore, who sells more, thank you so much for joining me on Elite Real Estate Agents of Southeast Queensland. I've really enjoyed speaking to you on our very first episode, and look, would love to have you back again when we as this series continues to roll on and evolve. So look, if you do want to get in touch with Campbell, his all his details will be in the show notes there with links. We may even see if we can get that link to that auction you're talking about that was on the telly. Is that
yes,
must be on YouTube as well?
Yes, it would be.
We'll put that there as well so that you can have a look. But
I think I've still got that. Yeah, I'm certain I have. But anyway, yes.
Hopefully we can get that in there so you can have a look at what we've been talking about.
Yes.
But look, Campbell, thanks so much for being on the show. I've really enjoyed our chat. And if you are listening, do get in touch.
Thanks a lot, Adam. Really been nice. Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Elite Real Estate Agents of SEQ. If today's guest sounded like the right agent to help with your next move, please reach out. You'll find all their details in the show notes and episode description. And if you're a real estate agent interested in being showcased on the podcast, visit www.podproaustralia.com.au to learn more and register your interest. If you enjoyed the podcast, we'd love it if you could like, share and rate the podcast, and let us know in the comments if there's an agent you've dealt with and you think they should be featured next. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.